I have had, no money. I've been in debt. I've had just enough to pay the bills. I've, earned money and got rid of it as quickly as I can. And most people have this, variations of how they be with money. If they hoard it, save it, spend it, all these different things.
I guess one thing that I just keep realizing is that, and you've said it before many times, is no matter how much money you have in the bank, you can still have a money problem. It's your point of view that creates your money problem.
Like if you created for wealth and not for money, what would you choose? Welcome to the Choice, Change and Action podcast, where you get to choose, change and take action to create a different today and a different future. Well, it's a super good morning to you all and a good afternoon from Australia. Good morning from Italy. Welcome to Choice, Change and Action podcast. You're with me, your host, Simone Milasas. And today we have the lovely, the amazing Mr. Wesley Pullen. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, let's talk about why I've got you on. Because, so I'm in Italy at the moment. I just flew in a couple of days ago. Let's set the scene. I am on just warped time. Let's just call it that. So I've been up since 12:30 a.m. and I work really well in the mornings and I get really creative and I wake up and I'm incredibly inspired. Like that's just how I be. Get me late at night and I'm like, what? Not exactly the brightest crayon in the box, as they say, or in Australia, sometimes we say a couple of kangaroos loose in the top paddock. That's what I am at night time. So one of the things, Wes, who I work very, very closely with, and he works on all of my stuff and the business, etc., and someone that I can extrapolate with and, makes different choices and etc. And so I rang him about a bunch of stuff and we started having this conversation and it was to do with money and it's variations of money, let's say, too, and wealth creation. And I went, let's do a podcast. So it's now my 6 a.m. in Italy. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, I'm going to work out. I'm going to do some Pilates and stretch and do that. And then we'll do this podcast because I wanted to put like a different spin on this, but I also would like to be very vulnerable and truthful and honest with what was going on in my world. And, if you don't know, the second book that I have ever written is called Getting Out of Debt Joyfully, and it's in multiple languages. That book is all about access consciousness tools that you can use with money to change your financial reality. I sometimes think that I created myself to be, hugely in debt so that I could use the tools and write the book and also contribute to others. There's literally like thousands of people around the world that have read this book and created a different financial reality from it. All the tools are from Access Consciousness. Now, you can have a tool, in these processes, etc. But the greatest thing you have is your choice, and you choose your reality every day. You choose your reality every single moment. So I have had, no money. I've been in debt. I've had just enough to pay the bills. I've, earned money and got rid of it as quickly as I can. And most people have this, variations of how they be with money. If they hoard it, save it, spend it, all these different things. And I think the crux of it is what if you were not fully aware of what your point of view is with money and started asking that question too, what's your point of view about money? Because I think so many people get confused and they pick up the thoughts, feelings and emotions of others. And one of the things that Wes and I were talking about this morning is, are you freaking out about money right now? It's the beginning of December. It has that really weird ass, energy that it's becoming, towards Christmas. You're meant to be buying presents. You're meant to be having a good time. In Australia, it's friggin' hot. Over in Europe, it's snowing because I'm asking for it. There's all these different things that go on. And I've noticed that I started to freak out about money and other people have started to freak out about money. So we were talking and everyone has a different freak out about money, right? And one of the things I was looking at is all of the investments that I have. because I've gotten out of debt, I've made money, I have money, and then I, I've made lots of different investments, whether it's like commercial real estate, residential real estate, my own house. Like I'm currently doing renovations on it, which is costing me, a small fortune. But here's the thing, it'll be worth more, right? So, and those, those days or those weeks where it just has that sense like everybody's like, can I have the money now, please? Can I have the money now, please? And you're like, there's only a certain amount to go around, well, that's the lie, right? And some of the things you were mentioning, Wes, is you were saying, bills can get overwhelming. So my question to you too is, it's like, we didn't talk about this part this morning before this podcast, but it's like, where are you at the moment with money? Like how does that sit in your world?
Look, I mean, I also notice it's in the air, especially this time of year, where that it's like that freak out time, or
Mm.
we're about to go into the quiet part of the year where we don't make as much money, or all these points of view do keep coming through my head, or I'm about to move, and that comes with a whole bunch of its own expenses too, and I want to buy all sorts of outdoor furniture, and that comes with all these first world problems that I have too with money. But I guess one thing that I just keep realizing is that, and you've said it before many times, is no matter how much money you have in the bank, you can still have a money problem. It's your point of view that creates your money problem.
Yeah, it is. And so one of the things I was looking at is I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, David Kubis, who's been on my podcast many times, and he's in Rome. And I said, hey, can we meet up? Can we chat? Have a financial 101 sort of conversation? And Christopher Hughes as well, who's a good mate of ours. And I was just like, you just want to shoot the breeze and go, this is what I've created. This is what I've chosen. This is what I have as investments. Are they actually a contribution? Like I've invested a lot in a property in Costa Rica, in the castle in Italy, and different things like this as well. And I just started to go, what if I questioned everything? Like, is it actually matching the energy of what I would like to choose? And then I had a conversation with Gary Douglas yesterday, the founder of Access Consciousness. And as usual, oh my goodness, did he put a different spin on it? And that's what I would like to download this podcast with too. And it's an energy I get. And it's such the difference of the way people perceive money and the way they look at, the way they look at money and the way they look at riches. And then the difference of that and then with wealth. Like if you created for wealth and not for money, what would you choose? And if I look at, say, my house is, and you reminded me of this too, Wes, my house is so friggin' nurturing for me. It's honestly like walking through a garden, or it's just got, it's like being in the woods or in the ocean or anything like that. What I have created with the house, and it's in, on the coast, in Sunshine Coast, um, in Peregian Beach, across the road from the ocean. I listen to I hear this ocean all the time. It's really loud. And all the different, the plants I have and the structure of it, like the way I've created it and the movement and the furniture. And I've got a food forest there, and my ice bath, and I am too looking for some more outdoor furniture because I really love being downstairs and being with my food forest and with just even on the grass, and I'm getting the house extended and it's rendered and it's looking amazing and looking beautiful. Now all of that is costing me money, right? So there's that big M word. It's costing me money, and yet it's a contribution to a future, and for me that's creating wealth. So in this 10 seconds, maybe it's like, okay, I've got to, reach out and grab money from these different places, or ask, request, locate money. Actually, that's a better word. Locate money from these different places. And yet it's creating a different future and a greater future. And I see a lot of people don't actually choose that because they're not willing to be in this piece of it. They're not willing to be in this, and it's not linear. It's wealth creation. It's not money as per this reality. Money per this reality is, so I earn X amount, I've got these bills coming in, I pay the bills, and this is the amount of money that I have afterwards, and that's my profit, and that's what I get to play with. That's if you're doing it well. That's if you're a good little girl or a good little boy. Whereas if you're not, then you spend too much money, and you're living a champagne lifestyle and a beer budget, as they say, and then you end up in debt, or you're just not looking at it. What if none of that was real? Like, none of that was real. Because this reality is all about the money. Now, I'm also not saying go out there and renovate your house and go buy all this stuff. But what if you could start asking some questions, and asking questions of like, is this creating wealth? Like, what could you reach for that you're not reaching for? And ask also, what is this creating for the future that you're not acknowledging? So if you look at everywhere that you're currently investing, so even if you look at your housewares that you're moving to, or your apartment, I think it is, what is that creating for the future that you're not acknowledging?
Exactly. And I moved because I knew my body needed more space. And I just happened to find another place, and it just showed up that it's a super nurturing space. It has outdoor space, and I know I'm going to be happy there. I knew immediately it was for me.
Yeah. So then you ask the questions too. It's like, well, what is this going to create? So even if you look at the energy of that, it's like, what will that create for you and your body?
Yeah. A massive, massive sense of relaxation and peace.
So a massive sense of relaxation and peace. What does relaxation and peace contribute to your future?
So much.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? And, I mean, Gary's been saying forever that if everybody relaxed, it's like, I mean, I remember he said, if everybody relaxed, the business of access consciousness would expand at least 75%. And, Dane here wrote the book, Being You, Changing the World. And it's not about, like working your ass off and getting stressed and getting frustrated, etc. It's about being you. Like, if you were being you today with your financial reality, what would you choose? Do you enjoy your investments? Like, if you have a house or different investments, do you enjoy them? Or are they a struggle? Because what if there was not this normality of an exchange? We're taught that everything is transactional and that there's an exchange reality. Well, what if it's not? What if it's different? What if there is an energy, and that energy includes that energy of wealth, that we can actualize a different possibility here on the planet, instead of getting all stressed out about money and freaked out about money?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When you say wealth, like, what does it mean to you?
I would say it's a sense of having, a sense of receiving, a sense of also gifting, a sense of peace, no judgment. Like, I would say for me, like a hedonistic lifestyle that has the elegance and infinite choice. So it includes money, and it's not about money. Like today we're at Maestro in Rome, which Maestro is a class that Dr. Dan here is facilitating. He does it once a year. And I was asking, what would it take for me to receive more from this class than I've ever received before? What would it take for me to have so much friggin' joy and beauty in my world today? And that's wealth for me.
That's such a beautiful way to look at it, because I mean, we said we were going to be vulnerable on this podcast, and when you asked me earlier, hey, do you want to do a podcast with me? Literally the first thing that just fell out of my mouth was, I can't talk about wealth with you, Simone, because I put myself in a different category to what you define as wealth versus what I define as wealth. And therefore I decided I can't speak about Simone about wealth because I know nothing about wealth.
So
and immediately I looked at it, I was like, whoa, that's not true.
What, we hung up, and I actually, thank you for bringing that up. We hung up, and And that went into my head, and I was like, what's Wes talking about? Why can't he talk about wealth? So I love that. Can we do this then? So if everybody's listening and maybe some stuff about me, maybe you've seen me flying first class or something or whatever, and you go, oh, she's got this, right? So as you just said, Wes, you don't put yourself in that category, which is such a lie and creates separation. Like money creates separation, wealth doesn't. So everything at that is, and everywhere that you've been creating separation because you've been putting categorizing what this is, will you destroy and uncreate it times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot all nine, shorts, boys, proverbs, bases, creations, and beyonds. Wow. Like
Yeah.
how many bases are you using to create the lack of wealth in your life and living?
Mm. I mean, ever since we spoke, I was really looking at, okay, so what does wealth mean to me?
So
If
what
it's,
does it mean to you? Yeah.
you know, if I were to truly undefine it, what would I actually choose as my reality? And as you were talking there, like the wealth of, it's hedonism, it's receiving, it's that, it's not just first class and money in the bank and
No.
lovely looking investment accounts. It's like, what if you could truly undefine it and create what wealth means for you? Mm.
Yeah, I love that. And maybe, if you're listening to this, listen again and get a notebook out or something, I love old school notebooks, notebook and pen, and write it down, like what is wealth for you? And because here's the thing, if you reach for that energy, money shows up. But if you're always making it about the money, like calibrating your success by the amount of money that you have in your bank account or have in your wallet or, all of this, then you're going to exclude the energy that allows that wealth to show up, that choice for wealth. And because to be honest, what I started doing too was I was like, wow, should I sell this house? Should I do this? Should I do that? And none of it had a lightness to it. It was like,
Mm.
trying to fix a problem, which by the way, there is no problem. You invent a problem, but was the energy. It was like trying to fix a problem, find a solution. I was like, I'd like to have surplus in my bank account, not like, oh no, another bill coming, another bill. And admittedly, like I said, I'm renovating my house. It's costing me a lot of money, and it's great. But I'm actually, wow, thank you. I just got that. Thank you, house. Thank you, everything. I'm actually grateful for this energy, because if I wasn't renovating it, then I would have been, as I would have said, playing it safe. And that's what I found I was trying to go back to, was like, how do I play it safe again? No, what if wealth is
Mm.
not about playing it safe? What if wealth was about being in question and having chaos, be your lifestyle?
And even as you said that, like having a surplus in the bank account, that always used to be something for me. I always wanted to have enough money for 6 months, or uh, something to fall back on, or like
Mm,
emergency money, or enough to pay the credit card off. Like I always wanted to have that. And when I truly looked at what I wanted to have underneath,
mm,
it was I wanted to not worry about money. I wanted to have peace with money. And then I realized, oh, it doesn't matter if I have $1 in the bank or 10,000 or 100,000. You actually have to choose to not have worry with money. It's an actionable choice every single day, and you got to catch yourself in the moment. Worrying about money, stop that. What else is possible? What can I create? You have to stop yourself. It's a practice.
Have you ever wanted to have all the Access classes in the same place? Or you're new to Access and would like to discover more? Check out the app at access.me. There's a class for any topic, and you literally have access to over 25 years of classes of change, choice, and possibility. I love that.
Mm.
Yeah. And so what do you do when I was actually just having a conversation with a couple of people this morning about a business, and we were talking about what you choose when there's like not enough money in the bank account to pay the bills.
Mm.
Like
Well,
hmm.
I would say if I look back at every time in my life when I needed to locate money or scramble for money, no amount of panic and
Yeah,
franticness has gotten me the amount of money that I needed. It was
yeah,
action and choice and
yeah,
creation. And
yeah,
I know action, choice, and creation come from a space of joy for
yeah,
me, not from panic.
yeah. Well, it was funny because one of the people I was talking to said that what they do is they contract. And it was cool because I went, oh, because I'm so direct. Like if I'm like, hey, we require money. And it's like, everyone's like, hey, be happy. And I'm like, yeah. And what can we do to create this revenue for this? This is one of the businesses I have called Antiques and Possibilities in Pregium Beach. So please go buy your Christmas presents there. You can check out the Instagram account, etc. But the sales are not doing that great. And it's, it's considered luxury items. I mean, we have really expensive items in there and we have really well-priced items too. So it's very diverse shop. And it's not like we're the only one. So you're sort of not taking it personally. And yet, okay, but let's make some money. Like, let's look at what else is possible. And so one of the people said that what they do is contract when money is brought up, like, in this staff thread. And I was like, oh, and I realized what I would do, like, I work really well with numbers. So for me, if I'm involved in a project or a business and we're like, hey, we're short this or we need this or what this is coming up, I'm like, great, because there is more of a demand in my world. And that demand in my world allows me to lean into a different possibility and be in question and create. Like I get really creative and I don't contract. I don't do that. I like lean into it. So what if, as we were both saying before, it's such a point of view and worrying, struggling, freaking out, being the same as everybody else has never created more money showing up in your bank account. So everywhere that you've been choosing that and all the bases, and so that's how you base your choice on something, right? So the bases is where you go, oh, well, I'm going to freak out about money based on I don't have any, okay? Everything at that is times a godzillion, right, wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine, shorts, boys, provids, creations, bases, and beyonds. Damn. Yeah, there is it. And that, like, I don't know if you noticed, but there's that energy that after we ran that clearing statement just went, here you go. It's like the universe is opening this door to like the wealth door. Come on in, because hardly anyone's playing in that arena. It's making money so significant, and anything you make really significant will end up controlling you anyway. So
Yeah.
and you've got to be, like I was talking this morning about antiques and possibilities, and I said, okay, it's December, right? So, we should do well in December based on we are a retail shop and we have good Christmas presents, and we're on the coast and it's school holidays. And there's all of these different reasons and justifications, which, by the way, is basis, right? So I was saying, let's not go to conclusion. Let's always be in question. Because if we keep saying, oh, based on this, dun, 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 we may as well be waking up in the morning and hitting our head against the brick wall, the same brick wall we've been hitting it against, rather than going, okay, what do we need to look at here? What could we do and be different? I was like, do we sublease some of the shop? Do we get somebody else in that has like plants or something and have it, they pay some of the rent and we sell their plants as well? Like, what else is possible? What if you could look beyond what currently is rather than going to the freak out and allowing that energy of chaos to enter in that holds hand, I think, so closely with wealth, and go, okay, bring it on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. What else is truly possible here?
That's so true. When you're functioning from that space of bases and this is based on that, like you eliminate all receiving from the universe because the
Yep.
universe thinks you got it. Like, oh, based on the Christmas holidays, we should have amount of sales. Great. You haven't asked for anything.
Yeah, you haven't asked for anything more. You haven't asked for anything different. And I also get ways it's that difference, and wealth is the difference. Like, like I said, I way prefer traveling first class than economy, right? And there's also a difference of, like, I really noticed a difference of people on the plane. There's some real assholes that you can meet in first class that you're like, wow, like there's just
Oh, that's the
energy.
kind where you're walking past and they think you're walking towards economy and they're like, hold that bag.
Right.
They look at you like you don't belong here. And then you
Right.
sit down behind them.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I remember the first time I traveled first class and I felt like such a fraud. I was like, I was so convinced that they were going to like make an announcement over the speaker being like, the woman in 2A, she didn't actually pay for this ticket. She got it on, upgrading points or something like that, But there's a generosity spirit with wealth. Let's say that. And there's a gifting and receiving with wealth. Whereas money has such a, like I said before, is so transactional and has this give and take. And look at Christmas. We've got Christmas coming up. How many of you are functioning from give and take program, which is, oh, what are they going to give me? And then, and if you're not receiving it, you're literally taking it. That's the energy. And I'll tell you how to look at this is the next time you're gifting something to someone, notice the energy. Did they receive it or did they take it? Now, you can't say that to them. You can't ask them that, but you'll notice, because as someone receives, like if I gift something to Wes, and if he doesn't really receive it and he just takes it, boom, there goes a wall, there goes a barrier, there goes a separation. Whereas if I gift something to Wes and he receives it, then that just has this swirl of chaos of receiving in his world and receiving in my world and other people's worlds. What were you going to say? You're going to say something?
Oh no, I was going to say just that's the gratitude that you instantly recognize and perceive
Yeah.
in someone's
Yeah.
world, and
Yeah.
it's like ugh, I don't even say this. It's something you can't put words to. When someone receives something from you, yeah.
But that's wealth too, is something you actually can't put words to because it's an energy. And, one of the things that we talk about in Access Consciousness is the elementals. And the elementals are something that's, not even on the, periodic chart, but they're an energy. Okay. So they're an energy. And one of the elementals is gratitude. One of the elementals is peace, So if we just look at gratitude and it's their molecules of consciousness. And so if you have gratitude for the gifting that is going on, for the receiving, for the people, for the money that you have, for the money that you don't have, if you have gratitude and it's a molecule of consciousness, is it going to create something more for you? Something greater? Like what future is that gratitude going to create that you haven't been willing to acknowledge? And everything that is redestroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, provids, bases, creations, and beyonds. Or are you doing judgment of you and judgment of money, which literally creates separation? And it separates you from money. So how many judgments?
Like even like that earlier when I said to you, oh, I can't talk to you about wealth.
Yeah.
Because that's me judging me and
Yeah.
then judging you and putting you in a category, putting me in a category and saying those two categories can't exist together. That's doing judgment. We always think judgment's being like, oh, Simone's a bitch or such and such is a bitch. No, like, yes, that is judgment, but it's also judgment is the exclusion. Judgment's the elimination.
Well, you also have positive judgment and negative judgment
Correct.
too. So like you're talking about the negative judgment. Everyone's so like, oh, that's judgment and negative. But hey, there's positive judgment and both of them will lock you up just as much. So all the judgment that you've been doing of yourself with money, anyone with money, anyone with no money. Jesus, there's a lot of energy on that. Where you destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, provids, bases, creations, and beyonds. Wow. Wow. Yeah, wealth is a world with no judgment as well.
Even judging someone as, oh, they're so good with money. It's a massive conclusion. I mean, it can be an awareness and an acknowledgement, but if you lock yourself into the point of view that you see someone as good with money, you won't be able to receive anything else other than that.
Yep. And money doesn't like change who you be. It makes you more of who you are. Like it can contribute to that. So, I mean, so many people have the point of view, oh, rich people are assholes. It's like, no, you don't become an asshole because you've got money in the bank account. If you're an asshole, you're just an asshole. So it's like, it's not, don't blame money. So, and if you have a generosity of spirit, it's like, it can increase your generosity of spirit. Like money can contribute to you. So how many of you have not been allowing money to contribute to you? And will you now allow money to contribute to you? And everything that doesn't allow that to show up, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, provids, bases, creations, and beyonds. So if you are freaking out about money today, please know that you can choose something different, like take some action. So what's some of the actions you would take, Wes?
Well, first I would ask myself, is this going to matter in a couple of months?
Yeah,
If no, then generally over it by then.
yeah,
Then I remind myself that if the panic still exists, then I remind myself that no amount of panic has ever gotten me the amount of money I need.
I love it.
And then ask some questions followed by some action. Ask, where's my attention required today? What can I create for this to show up? Total ease. And then get to work. Like, you can
Yeah.
ask questions and go sit on your sofa and do nothing. That's probably not going to create much for you. Ask questions and get to work.
I love it. And I'm going to comment on, because when you said right at the beginning too, or before we spoke about bills can be overwhelming. So a long time ago, I kept going to this, like, as access was increasing, I had the point of view that I was being overwhelmed, and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed because there was so much to do, is what I thought. But that holds hands with being a control freak and having to, control everything. So, and I remember I spoke to Gary one day and he said, would an infinite being be overwhelmed? I was like, no. And ever since then, if there's that energy in my world where I have that sense of overwhelm, I go, okay, stop. Whatever I'm doing, I pivot, I change, I do something different. Like if I'm at a computer, if I'm on the phone, I'll even like go make a cup of tea or go water a plant or call someone or, go lie down for 5 minutes or go work out or something. Like I change what I'm currently doing so that I can look at there's infinite possibilities and there's infinite choice and there's infinite energy available. I'm not actually overwhelmed. But what else is there that I can even add, which is, people who are overwhelmed go, no, I can't add anything else. Yeah, but you can. You actually can add something different and add something more. And it could just be, okay, I'm going to add the energy of ease with this. And then you might go, wow, you know what? I don't need to call 10 people. I need to call 2 people to get this moving. Like
Yeah.
it could be something different. And that's the receiving in that energy of chaos too.
And like for me, well, I'll say this for in general, you may not be able to find that level of ease immediately, but I can guarantee almost everyone listening to this and beyond that, you have had a moment in your life where money has showed up as if by magic,
Mm-hmm.
and you have had a moment in your life where it has been easy. So it does exist. You just have to tap into that energy and ask for it to show up again. Remember that time that money showed up for you, write it down. Right, go remind yourself of all those magical moments in your life, because we always tend to forget the magic and remember the crap.
Yep.
I don't know why. We forget magic and we remember crap. Go write
Yep.
down your magic, remind yourself of that, acknowledge it was magic, and more of it can show up. Yeah.
I saw this meme today and it's of a man sitting at like a kitchen table and he's reading this big card and his wife says, you got so many beautiful birthday cards. Why are you focusing on that one card? And the card says, I'm coming to get you. It's like, it's got all these cut out letters and stuff like that. But it's true. We do. We focus on the one thing that you go, this didn't work out, or the one thing where you whatever, rather than all the great stuff that's there. So it's true.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to just leave you guys looking at too is, because it's not about there's a lot of energies with money. Like you can, like I said right at the beginning, people hoard money, people save money, people spend money, they refuse it, they avoid it, all these different things. What is it that you're currently choosing with money that you could change that would allow wealth to show up? And everything at that is times a godzillion. We destroy and uncreate it. All right, and on good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, poveds, creation spaces, and beyonds. Now, what if you start asking, what if you could spend money to create a future? Are you spending money to create a future? Now, what does that mean? Okay, my house as an example, it's like, yeah, it's costing me a lot of money, but it's investing into my house. Like that house will be worth more. So the equity will increase. Okay. So that's spending money to create a future. It's like, buying things that have intrinsic value is spending money to create a future. Like I have some beautiful, jewelry or gold, which is worth so much more now, silver, platinum, etc., is spending money to create a future. Elugar, like that I've invested in, is spending money to create a future. I was telling you this morning about, I want to invest in a mare, and a Costa Sensei mare, like a good one, a good quality mare that people are talking about her and they want her babies, so I can ride her and breed her. And I'm looking at that now. Apparently, like a good quality mare like that's going to cost like $30,000 US. I don't have that $30,000 US sitting here right now, and yet I'm so determined to have that. It to me, it has that energy of wealth. It's not like you're going to be like this money spinner of like, oh yeah, she's pumping out babies, and no. I mean, could I make money from it in the future? Maybe, yes. But for me, it's spending money to create a future, because that breed of horses, the Costa Senseis, is such a friggin' beautiful breed, and I would like to contribute to that being here on the earth and on the planet. So for me, that's spending money to create a future. It's not like a money spinner. And it could be. I'm not actually negating that or pushing that away. And yet for me, it's more about that beauty and the elegance and what this earth is asking for.
And I think you hit a point there. Like, don't just invest in something because it's linear, because it's not going to be.
Yeah.
If you look at it from a linear perspective, you eliminate so many possibilities to show up. Like, how many people would look at investing in a horse? Not very many, because it's not the linear choice. But allow yourself to explore the chaotic choices like that too.
Yeah. Well, living is not linear.
No.
Chaos is. Yeah.
Much as we like to think it is sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Well, my tool is I always go, okay, go to bed at night. Tell me one day that you go to bed at night and you go, well, today turned out exactly the way I thought it was going to turn out. Never. Ever.
Never.
Doesn't happen like that, right? So why do you keep trying to make it work like that? It doesn't work like that. Invite chaos into your life and have the wealth that you deserve. So, Wes, thank you so much for being on here with me. It's interesting. I didn't plan on this, but we have a bit of a money month in the podcast this month. So, I mean, we've got this one, Are You Freaking Out About Money? And the next two podcasts I have, I've actually already recorded them. They're really cool. They're like sort of interview style with a bunch of people from all around the world and talking about money, which was really interesting for me because, it's people growing up with not much money in Canada or in Australia, or growing up in a communist country. What was that like? Or growing up with wealth and with money, and what was that like? So there's so many different points of view out there, and whatever you grew up with or have in your life right now doesn't have to be what it is. You are the one who gets to choose. You are the one that gets to take action and change whatever the hell you desire. But you got to choose it, as Wes says. You got to choose it. Choose. Choice. So is there anything you would like to leave the listeners with?
I think one of the best things that you said to me with money, and I don't know if anyone else will ever get it, but I did, was one day I was freaking out about, I don't know, I had a big tax bill or something, or I was like 3 years behind on my taxes. And I called you and you said to me, it's just money, Wes. Yeah. And I got it immediately in that moment. I was like, oh yeah, it's just money.
Just money. Yeah. I love that. We'll leave it on there on a mic drop.
Yeah.
And we're also going to have details below. I do have a money challenge adventure starting literally on the 1st of January. And it's at an incredibly good price. And you get a couple of live calls with me and any money energy pool. And we've done some really cool videos with some home play for you to just start to change that energy that you may be functioning from with money. And as we said before, it doesn't matter if you've got $10 in the bank account or 10 million. It's people seem to create these, roadblocks or problems, and they are an invention. They are not real. You can change it, but you got to choose it. So come play with us on the money challenge. Thank you for being here. And don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and you'll get the show notes and all of that. So thank you so much. And thank you, Wes.
Thank you.
You're amazing. Bye. I adore you.
You too, my friend. Bye. Bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure to hit the follow or subscribe button on your favorite listening platform to get notified of new episodes. We read all the reviews, so if there's any topic you would like to hear about, let us know. If you'd like to know more about the tools, information, and classes mentioned in the podcast, head on over to SimoneMilasas.com. And follow me on Instagram at Simone Milasas, or the podcast has its very own link on Instagram at Choice, Change and Action. Don't forget, you can download the show notes. And lastly, have way too much fun today.